And there's the snap to the 13th Pianocast. Serendipitous because it's Halloween and it's my 13th one. How much more spooky does it get? Other than the full moon on Halloween, and we get an extra hour, and it's a blue moon, and it's Halloween. I have yet to really know any scary songs, so to speak. So as I was preparing for this month's Pianocast, I had this dialogue with God. I'm just like, help me out. I looked up some YouTube tutorials on like scary theme songs. None of it did it for me. Like, man, there was one that I was like, nah, kind of, but not really. And then one day I just sat down and this is why I really love the piano. It reminds me that in some shape or form, as humans, we don't invent anything. We only discover it. Like, it's always there. Like, the piano has all the patterns already set. It's just waiting for us to discover them. So I sit down and I just play these 4 chords, and I knew. Not the scariest, but it is different from all my other Pianocasts. And then I've been tweaking like the internal part of my piano. And once again, serendipitously, it's not that I invented it, it just kind of happened. So we have 3 pedals on the piano, 1 to sustain versus that, right? 1 to sustain. The middle one, you have to specifically ask for it to be operational. If not, it won't be. And I'm not sure why. But the third one shifts the piano this like to the right. It makes it softer. So if I go right, softer. Yet when I do that, because I've been tweaking with the hammers, the F key over here sounds nice. I shift it to the right. And I get that twangy sound. I get one down here. And then the C, regardless of me doing that, also has it. So it's like perfect. I get to have this for my Pianocast. So I figure I would talk about something scary, right? And as a young adult, I think one of the things that is a bit scary to me, partly because I wasn't raised with it, I wasn't taught how to do it, is just being radically honest, having this open dialogue with the people in your life, the people that you love. And it's kind of the concept of, I like to call it open communication, which doesn't necessarily mean having an open relationship, yet being able to be comfortable enough that you can talk about stuff like that. And it's been interesting because you kind of have to ease your way into it. And this is not just for relationships. I'll go into like what it looks like for a parent-child relationship. But it's been interesting because it's It's communicating, right? Here are my boundaries. And some are hard-nosed. Yet there's others that I haven't examined. And I kind of talked about this in a prior podcast. And you haven't got to a boundary, or you have because you've tore down the wall and rebuilt it. And I think part of why it may be scary, because our ego is possessive. It doesn't want to lose, so to speak, the person that we love. So we step around, we beat around the bush, and we don't really communicate certain things, right? We're humans. We're always going to be changing, finding other people attractive. But just because I find someone else attractive doesn't mean that I'm going to overstep what we communicated. But do I have a space to communicate that? And by that I mean, have you overcome how you behave when you get triggered? Can you hold space for someone else while you're triggered? Because that's partly sometimes why people aren't honest with one another. They'd rather lie than trigger you, make you feel some type of way. But that's part of the emotional immaturity, in my opinion. Because that's part of agreeing to having an open dialogue. There are things that you're going to say that it's going to trigger me. Can I be mature enough to work through it? And if it bugs me so much, then we both need to honor one another and let the person move on. Let the person find another person that has the same boundaries or may not want to extend a common one. And then it feels more fluid. Jordan Peterson talked about marriage isn't for the kids. I mean, marriage isn't for the people who get married. It is for the kids. And then he brought up this other concept where marriage, in its purest sense, before the ability to divorce, so you could have someone that you could tell the whole truth, and they couldn't run away. Because if someone told you the whole truth and they didn't, and the other person didn't run away, they weren't listening. So since learning that information, I've been curious, can I develop an open dialogue with someone where we are radically honest with one another And if we do want to run away, we have to honor that. And if not, then we're able to cultivate something more precious than some people have in their marriages. So let's talk about how that shows up for our parents and our parent-child relationship. Something I didn't have with my parents. And that's fine. We learn and we build on top of the shoulders of our ancestors. So one of the things that I know I'm going to tell my kids for sure is that there are things that you're going to do that I'm probably not going to agree with and may ask you not to do. Yet, whatever that is, if you're going to do it, at least do it with elegance, class, and respect. Because the minute you aren't able to do it classy, elegantly, with respect to others, to your body, we have a problem. And I would like you to be able to talk to me about it. I wish I had that with my parents. You know, there's things I was going through that I felt that I couldn't communicate with them just because I felt like they would judge me. I would just get in trouble. They wouldn't really assess the problem. They would look past it and blame something else instead of just how can we find a solution. And then that way, communication doesn't have to be scary. There's a safe space to talk about things. Without, I guess you could be judged, and that's fine, but you know they're listening. And as you're triggering them and you're being triggered, you both are maturely working through it. Finding solutions, growing together, going through pain and sadness with someone has bonded me with a person much more than most happy events in my life. Not that I'm seeking to go through sad and hard times, but going through hard things make for an easier life. Easy choices, hard life, easier choices. Or how does that go? Hard now, easy later, easy now, hard later. Something like that. That's what I have for you. Chords that I could practice more, yet they are what they were. Happy Halloween. Stay safe.